Jimmy Kimmel made his emotional return to U.S. late-night television last night, just 6 days after ABC suspended his show indefinitely. The program was pulled in the wake of comments the host made over the death of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. Kimmel choked up while addressing the situation in his opening monologue.
It was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it, and I still do.
Kimmel also used his monologue to highlight the importance of maintaining free speech while poking fun at the Trump administration. Despite Disney's decision to reinstate the show, nearly 1/3 of ABC stations are still not airing Jimmy Kimmel Live. Steve Futterman is outside the El Capitan Theater in Los Angeles for us this morning. It's the home of Jimmy Kimmel Live. And Steve joins us now with more. So certainly an emotional show, Steve, from some of those clips that we just saw there of Jimmy Kimmel. Take us through some of those key moments.
Well, good morning, Hillary. The theater where Jimmy Kimmel tapes his show right behind us here on Hollywood Boulevard. It was an emotional night, and it was a very poignant night for many people, especially the audience members who were inside. Jimmy Kimmel began his show with a 1-minute standing ovation. His first line was, "As I was saying," sort of mocking the fact that he had been off since last week. But he did talk about these emotional, touching moments. And I think, as you mentioned before, that very moment where he talked about him not wanting to make light of the death of Charlie Kirk, his voice cracked. And there was another moment where he talked about Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, and he referred to her comments on Sunday at that big memorial service in Phoenix, where she said she forgave the man who killed her husband. And he talked about that. This is Jimmy Kimmel last night. Take a listen.
On Sunday, Erica Kirk forgave the man who shot her husband. She forgave him. That is an example we should follow. Yeah. If you believe in the teachings of Jesus, as I do, there it was. That's it. A selfless act of grace, forgiveness from a grieving widow.
And you could hear the voice crack there. There were a number of times where his voice cracked. He is an emotional person. We've seen him get emotional on the air before in other situations, but last night was unlike any we've ever seen before. Now, he did not shy away from attacking Donald Trump, and he talked about free speech a lot. This was not Jimmy Kimmel holding back. He was going full force after Donald Trump, and the issue of free speech came up repeatedly. This is what he had to say, sort of mocking Donald Trump for helping him get a big audience last night. Take a listen to this.
You almost have to feel sorry for him. He did his best to cancel me. Instead, he forced millions of people to watch the show. That backfired bigly. He might have to release the Epstein files to distract us from this now. The President of the United States made it very clear he wants to see me and the hundreds of people who work here fired from our jobs. Our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he can't take a joke.
So there he mocks Donald Trump for actually helping him get at his audience. We don't know the exact figures. It'll come out later today, but it was probably a very huge audience, much higher than he normally gets. Now, the people inside, some of them had been waiting for a couple of hours in line to get inside. They had to go through a screening process, show their IDs. They didn't want any security problems inside. But these were a couple of people we spoke with after the showing, after the taping, and they were impressed with what Jimmy Kimmel had to say.
It was clear he wasn't kowtowing, but at the same time, just trying to open a line of communication while doing his thing.
I say that Jimmy Kimmel's my Taylor Swift. Like, I've been here so many times to see him. And even if I wasn't that big of a fan, I would have been so excited to be here because it's such a big moment for, you know, a victory for free speech.
So all these issues were covered last night. Jimmy Kimmel being conciliatory, responding to the complaints. He said he understood why some people had some problems with what he said. He said maybe his comments were ill-timed, but he also talked about free speech, and he made it very clear he's not going to back down. He's still going to be the comedian he's been for the last few years.
And Steve, despite that conciliatory tone, there are still a number of stations who are refusing to air the show. So why is that? Walk us through some of that.
Well, it's around 68 stations, which represents between 20 and 30% of the stations that normally air Jimmy Kimmel Live. These are stations owned by two major broadcast groups. One's called Nexstar, the other's called Sinclair. Sinclair has a history of conservative politics, but they said last week that they were not going to air the show for the foreseeable future. Now, we'll have to wait and see. Did his comments last night satisfy, mollify their concerns about Jimmy Kimmel? We'll have to wait and see with that. He obviously would like these stations to come back. ABC would like these stations to come back. There could be some legal contract issues if they continue to refuse to air it. Now, one person who didn't necessarily watch it, we don't know if he did, was President Trump, but he sure had a complaint about Jimmy Kimmel last night. He went on social media, as he often does, late in the night, and he said, you can see it here, he said he can't believe that ABC gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. He said that the White House had been told that Jimmy Kimmel's show had been canceled. Well, that was never the case. ABC said it was suspended. They never talked about the show being canceled. But then he goes on, you can see it here, to suggest that perhaps he's going to take out a lawsuit against ABC. He suggests that Jimmy Kimmel is a spokesperson, a mouthpiece for the Democratic Party. And he talks about election interference, a line he often likes to use. And he refers to the fact that ABC and the Trump library settled a lawsuit for around $16 million earlier this year, and he suggests he might do it again. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think Jimmy Kimmel had two goals last night. He wanted to show that he's sympathetic, that he understands the complaints about his comments last week, and he also wanted to explain those comments, and then he wanted to show that he's not going to back down. He's going to be the same type of comedian he's always been, tough comedy against Donald Trump and other people, and I think he came through with those two goals last night. Again, we're going to wait and see if we get a comment from Nexstar and Sinclair today. They still may want to wait a few days before making a comment whether or not they're going to continue with that show.
Steve, we know that you'll be watching for all of that reaction
Sure.
and more for us. But for now, thank you, Steve Futterman, for us this morning.